The story of Royston Drenthe is one of the most surprising and, at the same time, tragic in the world of football. The innate talent that led him to be considered one of the most promising young players in the world was eventually overshadowed by a series of questionable decisions and a life out of control off the pitch. Drenthe's rise and fall are a mix of early fame, personal issues, and the inability to handle success, which ultimately led him to quit professional football to pursue music, before falling into bankruptcy. Royston Drenthe was born on April 8, 1987, in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. From a young age, he showed a special talent for football. He was discovered early on by Feyenoord's academy, one of the most important clubs in the Netherlands. At 19, he was already standing out as a promising figure in European football. However, his impulsive and problematic character started to show from those early years in the sport. During his participation in the UEFA Under-21 European Championship in 2007, Drenthe caught the world's attention with his speed, strength, and technical ability. He was a powerful left-back, fast, with an impressive ability to get past opponents on the wing. In fact, many saw him as the natural successor to Roberto Carlos, the legendary Brazilian left-back of Real Madrid. In that tournament, Drenthe was a key figure in the Netherlands winning the championship, which solidified his reputation as one of the world's brightest football prospects. Drenthe's success in the Under-21 tournament attracted the attention of Europe's biggest clubs. Real Madrid, who had just bid farewell to Roberto Carlos, decided to take a chance on the young Dutchman. In August 2007, Drenthe was presented as a new Real Madrid player alongside another young Dutch talent, Wesley Sneijder. The club paid €14 million for his signing, a considerable sum for such a young player. In his debut for Real Madrid, Drenthe showed flashes of his talent by scoring an impressive long-distance goal. That moment seemed to confirm that the club had made the right investment. However, the pressure and fame began to have a negative effect on Drenthe. In his own words, "I went from living with my mother in a small house to a mansion worth millions of euros." The transition was too fast for him, and he soon began having problems both on and off the pitch. Royston Drenthe is an intriguing and tragic example of how expectations in elite football are not always fulfilled. His meteoric rise from the streets of Rotterdam to the pinnacle of European football was as swift as his fall. Acclaimed as one of the brightest talents of his generation, Drenthe had all the tools to become a superstar. However, his decisions off the pitch and his inability to handle the pressure of success ended up burying a career that could otherwise have been extraordinary. Drenthe burst onto the football scene with a unique blend of physical power, speed, and technique. From a young age, his talent was undeniable. At 20, he was a key figure in the 2007 UEFA Under-21 European Championship, where he was named the best player of the tournament. This earned him a transfer to Real Madrid, a dream for any young footballer. The expectations surrounding him were sky-high, with comparisons to legends like Roberto Carlos and him being seen as the natural successor to the Brazilian at the White Club. However, what seemed to be the start of a legendary career soon turned into a downward spiral. Drenthe's case is not simply one of a player who lost his talent. His ability was never in doubt, but his behavior off the pitch and his personal life were decisive in his decline. From the beginning of his time at Real Madrid, Drenthe was overwhelmed by the pressure and expectations. Moving from modest living conditions in the Netherlands to being a millionaire in one of Europe's most glamorous cities had a clear impact on his emotional stability. His transition to life in Madrid was, in many ways, disastrous. While some players managed to maintain focus on the pitch, Drenthe succumbed to the city's glamorous lifestyle, mingling with celebrities, surrounding himself with luxury, and losing sight of his career. His nights out, his relationships with models, and his reckless behavior, which included several incidents with the police, created a toxic environment that eroded his focus and performance on the pitch. Real Madrid is known for being a ruthless club, where competition is fierce and expectations are extremely high. For such a young player, the transition was not easy. As Drenthe began to make mistakes on and off the field, the fans and the media turned their backs on him, which heightened his anxiety. In an interview years later, Drenthe admitted that he suffered from panic attacks and that the pressure had taken a toll on him. This is a reflection of how difficult it can be to manage fame and expectations when one lacks the emotional tools or the proper support to handle the situation. Despite being loaned to clubs like Hercules and Everton to revitalize his career, Drenthe's problems persisted. At Everton, his unprofessional behavior, including his lateness and inclination for partying, cost him the trust of his manager, David Moyes. This lack of discipline was a recurring theme in his career, as he never managed to fully focus on football. Throughout his career, Drenthe earned millions of euros, but like many footballers who do not know how to handle sudden wealth, his spending habits and lack of financial planning led him to ruin. In later interviews, Drenthe admitted to squandering huge amounts of money on unnecessary luxuries such as expensive watches, cars, and parties. He lived as if his success and income were endless. His financial life fell apart when he began accumulating debts after his early retirement from professional football. Although he had attempted to launch a career as a rapper, his musical venture did not bring him the financial success he had hoped for. Eventually, Drenthe was declared bankrupt in 2020, a situation he acknowledged was the result of his poor money management and chaotic lifestyle. Drenthe's financial story mirrors that of many athletes who achieve success at a young age without adequate financial education. The high salaries in elite football can create a false sense of security, and when income diminishes, the extravagant lifestyle becomes unsustainable. Drenthe, like others before him, found that once a football career fades, the opportunities to maintain that level of living also vanish unless proactive measures are taken to protect one's financial future. Despite retiring at 29 and attempting to break into the music industry, Drenthe eventually returned to football. He rejoined smaller clubs, seeking not only financial stability but also a way to redeem himself, although his level was no longer the same and his career was far from its peak. The fact that he returned to the sport showed that, in the end, football remained a fundamental part of his life. That in his later years as a player, Drenthe tried to regain something of what he had lost, but the magic of his youth had already faded. He played for lesser-known clubs in lower leagues, but he never managed to reach the level that had once been expected of him. This late return was more symbolic than significant in terms of impact on elite football. Royston Drenthe's case serves as a warning to young footballers about the dangers of being swept away by fame, money, and the luxurious lifestyle that often accompanies success in sport. In an environment where expectations can be overwhelming and personal life can easily fall apart, having a strong support network and a focused mindset is crucial. His story also highlights the importance of mental health in elite athletes. The pressure they face can be immense, and in cases like Drenthe's, it can lead to devastating consequences if not managed properly. Furthermore, it shows how distractions off the field can have a direct impact on performance and the longevity of a career. Drenthe's talent was never in doubt. However, his lack of maturity, discipline, and his inability to handle pressure turned him into an example of how potential can be wasted if not managed correctly. His story of initial success, followed by an abrupt fall, is a narrative that repeats itself in the world of football and other elite sports. Talent, without the necessary focus and determination, may not be enough to achieve greatness. One of the most memorable episodes of Drenthe's career at Real Madrid was when he crashed into a police car during a street race with his Ferrari at around 5 in the morning. This incident not only damaged his public image, but also put his professional career at risk. Although no alcohol was found in his system at the time, the fact that he was involved in such a dangerous activity tarnished his reputation, especially since he was accompanied by his new girlfriend, a Playboy model named Melina Garcia, who was embroiled in a prostitution scandal. This behavior was not isolated. Drenthe began missing training sessions, disobeying his coach's orders, and showing indifference to warnings. One of his former coaches mentioned in an interview that Drenthe completely changed after arriving in Madrid. He became arrogant, believing the world revolved around him. This change in attitude not only distanced him from his teammates and coaches, but also began to affect his performance on the field. Despite his potential, Drenthe started losing prominence in the team. Real Madrid, which had bet on him as Roberto Carlos' successor, soon realized they had made a mistake. Drenthe was relegated to the bench, and in no time, his place was taken by another young talent, Marcelo, who would eventually become one of the best left-backs in the club's history. Over time, Drenthe was loaned out to several clubs. At Hercules CF, a modest team in Spain's La Liga, he showed glimpses of his former talent. He was even called up to play for the senior Dutch national team, but he never managed to establish himself. Despite some good performances, his off-field issues continued to affect his career. One of the most emblematic episodes during this period occurred when he was arrested by the police in Madrid for speeding and running several red lights. In the car, he had a drunk woman in the back seat. Although Drenthe tried to justify himself by saying he was only trying to take her to the hospital, the incident was widely covered by the media, further damaging his already deteriorating reputation. At Hercules, the club's financial problems caused an internal crisis. The players stopped receiving their salaries, and Drenthe decided to join a strike organized by the team. However, in an unexpected turn of events, while his teammates continued training, Drenthe simply disappeared. He went on holiday to the Netherlands, leaving the club in an awkward situation and creating further tensions with his teammates and the club's management. After his stint at Hercules, Drenthe was loaned to Everton in the English Premier League. Under the guidance of David Moyes, he showed flashes of brilliance and seemed to have found a new opportunity to redirect his career. In his early matches, he scored goals and provided assists, quickly earning a spot in the starting lineup. However, his erratic behavior resurfaced. One of the most controversial moments of his time at Everton came when he was caught on security cameras bringing girls into the training center's jacuzzi at 2 in the morning. Additionally, he openly flirted with the idea of signing for Liverpool, Everton's historic rivals, which caused tensions with his teammates and the coaching staff. Eventually, after arriving late to an important team meeting before a derby against Liverpool, Moyes lost patience and decided to drop Drenthe from the squad. After his time at Everton, Drenthe returned to Real Madrid, but the club decided not to renew his contract. At 29, Drenthe chose to retire from professional football to pursue another passion: music. Under the stage name Roya Two Faces, Drenthe ventured into the world of rap. However, his music career did not achieve the success he had hoped for, and he soon faced financial difficulties. In 2020, Drenthe declared bankruptcy, a tragic outcome for someone who, in his youth, had been considered one of football's greatest prospects. In later interviews, Drenthe admitted to having made many mistakes throughout his career, but he also pointed out that fame and early success had deeply affected him. At that time, I felt like I was God, he confessed in an interview, reflecting on the disconnection he experienced with reality during his years at Real Madrid. Royston Drenthe's story is a clear example of how natural talent alone is not always enough to guarantee a successful career in sport. Fame, pressure, and poor decisions can ruin even the most promising players. In Drenthe's case, his rise was as swift as his fall. Despite having all the tools to become a football legend, his inability to handle fame and his problems off the pitch ultimately destroyed his career. Today, Drenthe has found a new direction in his life. After his financial troubles, he has tried to return to football in lower leagues and sought stability in his personal life. Although he never achieved the success many predicted for him, his story serves as a lesson on the importance of humility, discipline, and emotional balance in the life of an elite athlete. Nowadays, Drenthe has shown more reflection on the mistakes of his youth. While his career didn't reach the heights many had anticipated, his willingness to speak openly about his failures and bankruptcy provides an honest insight into the challenges faced by professional footballers. And although his story can be seen as a sporting tragedy, it is also a powerful reminder of the lessons that can be learned from failure. Football, like life, isn't just about talent. Managing emotions, the decisions made off the pitch, and the ability to deal with adversity are equally important to achieving success. Although Drenthe's career ended on a sour note, his story remains fascinating and full of lessons for future generations of footballers. That's all for today. Thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for our next exciting content on the world of sport. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments. See you next time.